What's up, beautiful people? It's a beautiful day. It's a beautiful moment. I'm here now with Creative Real Estate Podcast number 2. I have separated some of the files of shedding into soul culture or heart-based community process with Blissed Out Network into this one area of expertise and wisdom in our community, working with developers and businesses and the community and my clients that are amazingly talented in their own field. And today, this will be a couple interviews. We talked with Andrew Rezmer in the past, but today will be gearing the gears in 2024, ending the year and going into 2025 with clarity in his work that he offers the community. His main work that he offers the community is in his CREIN real estate and with Conscious Living Radio over a couple of decades. But, the beautiful thing that we can explore here today in this podcast will be in Creative Real Estate, his CREIN, and a little bit more about this new platform that he has online to share with the community and explore with the community, working with him and how it can change your life. So, Andrew, just say hi, introduce yourself. I'm just closing my door for a second here so that I don't have an interruptions.
Okay, great.
Yeah,
Thanks.
so,
Thanks for inviting me, Leanne.
oh, you're welcome. And, making this moment, friends, we have this pre-recorded. This information is a pillar of being friends with Andrew and being beside him since about 2011 when I met him and we started to collide and learn. And I think the most beautiful thing I want to remind people is if you're trusting yourself first and you're discovering something about yourself, then the people that are here in front of you today, myself and him, will be sharing a wealth of wisdom of his life legacy. And I've had a great opportunity to trust that for about 15 years. So because I've trusted that, I know the impact of sitting in a room. I know the impact of being behind stages. I know the impact on putting on events. I know the opportunity for him to always show up. So that would be my testimony or my Google review to what's to come for you. And this is where I'm really excited because I had a chance prior to COVID to sit in a room with him several times with his work with this beautiful CREIN real estate. And I've seen people where he's adjusting his sales right now. When we're in life, we have to adjust our sales, is what has worked, what hasn't worked, and what we can utilize now as an opportunity to work with him. So, Andrew, you've been in the real estate business for over 40 years and have managed over 3,000 units in both commercial and residential properties across multiple countries. Can you share how you first got started in real estate and what inspired you to focus on these creative deals?
Oh, that's a quite long time ago, over 30 years ago, back in Europe. I was interested in different forms of building homes, homes that are safe, that are healthy, and not too expensive. And I was representing a company where I was had freedom to actually go around Europe and look for ideas, inventions, or patents that we can explore and build those healthy homes. So that's how it started, this whole concept. Even though I'm an engineer in the Navy, my education is not necessarily aligned with it originally. But this concept of a place, that a home where our family gets together, where we grow together and share more, 1/3 of our life, was always very important, close to my heart. So when I came to Canada, I started learning how to acquire real estate, how to help people buy and sell real estate. Became a mortgage broker and also a real estate agent, real estate salesperson, and I learned how to inspect houses, and I've done hundreds of deals for others. And in about 97, 96, 97, I switched and decided to start investing by myself. And since then, as you mentioned, I bought and sold about 3,000 units over that period of time.
So I feel like that could be vulnerable for people that their mindset is like so used to working in a certain way and you have such a strength in your personality to walk on that razor's edge of the opportunity of investing, re-educating, and then having an opportunity to jump into something that you really felt strong about from your experiences, but like, did that, like, was that vulnerable for you, or did you really just know within you that you could do that?
Yeah, that's actually at that time I didn't even question this. I seem to have this kind of attitude that, oh, this is interesting and that hasn't been done, so let me try to do it. Or this is interesting, someone is doing it, let me learn from him or her. So that's has been my attitude, and I don't consider it vulnerable. It just is.
So good. But even for people that have, the unknown factor, and they don't walk on that razor's edge, or they don't take risks, this is why I ask these questions, because we want to be able to present an opportunity where people not only feel comfortable in their comfort zone, but how to be outside of their comfort zone and to trust it, right? So you've
Yeah,
worked in
and I
various roles. Okay, go ahead, sorry.
no, and I think that's important distinction that you're making because there are lots of workshop or training where the trainer is asking people to borrow money from friends to put their entire savings online and invest in something that they feel strongly about. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. I do think that there's lots I've seen and I met lots of people who lost their the entire family's earnings or savings because they made a wrong investments. Also in real estate. Real estate is cyclical. It goes up and it goes down. So if you don't know the cycle, which part of the cycle we're in, and it's sometimes difficult to know even for experts, it is easy to make a mistake and lose all the money. That's why I started about 97 and started looking for opportunities. How do you actually acquire real estate without money down or without signing documents that you are going to owe a mortgage to the bank? And I was shocked by myself that there are structures, there are systems that allow you to actually acquire real estate without money, or a significant amount of money that normally would be required, and without getting a mortgage. And that was shock to me at the time. And since then, I've done hundreds, if not thousands, of real estate transactions where I didn't put any money and I didn't have to take a mortgage to buy the place.
Okay, I want to highlight something personal and reflect this, because I feel like anybody that would be vulnerable, you're going to have a moment where you have an unknown place in life. There may be a crossroad, or life presents COVID, people get locked down, um, and they had to learn in a moment, I don't know what to do right now. I have this structure, I have this system, now I have to rethink outside it. So another reason why I present these ideas of creative real estate is because we're always in these two parallel areas of life where it's planning and unplanning. And so if we have wisdom of the trial and error of being with life where there's an unplanned moment, we're still in that moment, we're vulnerable, and something comes through us, intelligence comes through us to move us, to guide us. I want to, Nick, take that little focus point for people that would feel vulnerable, say, taking new steps in life, is that it's an opportunity to expand and grow yourself and to experiment with this opportunity of knowledge. So you've already experimented with it over 3,000 units, both commercial and residential. You've already seen the system works. You've already educated yourself enough for people to want to work with you. Now all you need is the right people that want to work with you to do the experiments. And you've worked
Yeah,
in
and,
sorry, right?
yeah, and I wouldn't even call them experiments anymore. I think experiments is when you're not necessarily sure of the outcome. In this case, after hundreds, thousands of transactions, we tried few different areas where we feel is our strength is the best use, has best use, and it's not an experiment; it's a system. It's a proven system.
I like that. Well, I like bringing out words or thoughts that could come up in people, or that people will be looking at
Right.
this podcast. And I want them to feel as vulnerable to have these answers and to see, oh, okay, that's why I want to work with him. And you've worked in various roles where certified investor, trainers, real estate salesperson, broker, and mortgage broker. That's a lot, right? So you
Mm.
covered all your areas. And then you have these different certification and qualifications shaped to approach this CREIN real estate or creative real estate that you've created. You've also worked in multiple countries. So that's another thing that, you know, people that'll have a chance to see this video, whether they're a Canadian student or they're out in the US or South Africa or in Bali or wherever they may find this content that we can share nicely out there in the community, that they can tap now because we're expanded through your lessons and your work on your platform that you have, where they can grow and learn with you, and your mobile too, so that people can call you on WhatsApp or they can reach you once there's a point in time after they've studied to grow with you. So we'll get through that. Creative real estate and profit producing deals. This is the main focus that you're doing. One of the main highlights of your approach is being able to buy producing real estate with no money down, right? So could you walk us through the basic principles of creative real estate and how one can start applying them?
I think the most important is because if I was, trained as a whatever lawyer or a mortgage broker or even real estate agent, and someone comes to me and says, "Oh, you can buy property with no money down," it's going to sound very fishy, sketchy, or maybe even illegal. And what I think it's important to understand that the way this is structured is not to take advantage of anyone at all. It's actually a way to support and save people from even more hardship. So imagine the situation as someone bought a house during the peak, let's say 2-3 years ago, during peak July 2001, I think, 21, I mean, when the real estate was very high. They qualify for a mortgage, they bought it with 5 or 10% down payment. And their situation has changed in their life. So they got, even if you put 5% down payment or 10% down payment, your actual mortgage is more than 90 or 95% because there's insurance, there's other fees included. So 2 years later, you may still owe about 90% of the original value of the property, but the value may have gone down more than 10%. So now the property that you bought for 500 is, and your mortgage is, let's say, 450, but the property may be worth 400 because of the changes in what are you going to do? Let's say you lost job. Let's say someone is sick in your family. Let's say you have to move. Well, there's millions of reasons why. And now you're confronted with the situation where you have to pay to sell the property more than you've paid to buy it, because not only there's a difference between price and the value and the mortgage that you have still owe to the bank, but there's commissions to be paid to whoever is going to help you. There's penalty if your mortgage was locked for, let's say, 5 years and you're trying to get out of it before. There's legal fees. So now you pay the property with 50,000 down, but to sell it, you need to come up with 100. Where are you going to get this money from? So the only choice that people believe they have is to actually declare bankruptcy. But there is other choice. There are other choices. That's what we teach in our courses, that then we can help as a group, we can help and buy this property or take over those mortgage payments and kind of save this family from bankruptcy and take control of the property without money down. And this is just one of 50 different structures that we use to buy property. So I don't want to obviously run an entire course. The course is a long process to find the properties. Majority of the teaching in that course is just how to find and recognize the property, how to present this structure. And our company, our team takes over in most cases and finalize the rest. So that's the most important belief, the knowing that there is a system that can help someone in trouble and help you find a property with no money down.
See, I like this area where we all get excited about making money. We go to work, we find one item that everybody's going to love. But I like the opportunity where you stress upon a need of change or a problem that needs a solution, and what CREIN can actually really help the community. And I think where we go back to the compassion, we go back to this rooting of who we are and what we are, first of all, even as stewards of this world of sharing and giving and learning together with life. So that's another highlight. I want people to feel that they're in this industry in real estate. They're going to work to provide for their family. They're finding loopholes in how abundance finds them. They find somebody makes a phone call they weren't expecting. They bump into this person at Tim Hortons and all of these significant things about life. But then a beautiful thing about your life that has learned through systems of working for being a realtor, buying yourself out of that for the reason and the sake of not being able to spread your wings with your knowledge in cases even like this, where you had limitations over you because of the structure and the system, where people could actually spread their wings and help more people with a system or an ability to provide a solution, even when somebody could be in a bad situation with real estate. So another highlight on CREIN, and 3 cheers to you for doing that for people. Now, financial freedom is a very big thing for everybody because we are all geared towards why we go to work. And I know financial freedom was a very big topic as to the key points and the benefits of structuring yourself so that if you learn creative real estate, say if you are a realtor right now and you could buy yourself out potentially like you did, what would be the benefits for all of these realtor friends that I have or people that are out there that are not able to be flexible with how they're learning or where the market is or how they go in and out of their growth financially and what could change in their life with CREIN?
Well, I don't want to necessarily convince someone to quit what they're doing uh, and or judge, and the system, existing system. It is a new. I think it's important if someone's a realtor. I think as I was, it would be valuable for them to see there is another way of dealing with the same issue and finding solutions differently. Same like there is a Western medicine approach to cancer, diabetes, whatever, and there is more alternative. And you can't say that one is better than the other or one is worse than the other. Same here. There is a traditional way of raising capital for down payment, qualifying for a mortgage, buying a property, holding to it until it goes up in value, or doing renos or whatever, and trying to flip it for profit. That's an existing forever, and it's probably going to stay forever as well. And there is alternative like the one that I'm talking about, and it's not necessarily designed to. I don't want to. I don't want to sound like all the other workshops where you can become a millionaire in the weekend and you can, flip houses left and right and make money. This is more uh, finding situations where someone is in a trouble and they don't know that there's a light at the end of the tunnel. The analogy I was using with let's say medicine, if someone tried all the Western medicine approach to whatever challenge they have in life, they may be more open to try a more alternative approach. And we both know hundreds of people who have been helped with alternative approach to life. I know you are expert in Reiki and other modalities. So this is the same here. It's like if you're a realtor and you know one side, nothing's you're going to be that much wiser, that much more flexible if you will learn that there's other ways to buy the property, and that does not require down payments and mortgages.
So good. And I feel like those are going to be things that come up with everybody's mind because it goes up through all of our minds. Mind is mind. Every day we have this duality of, either being with the monkey aspect of it or controlling it or stilling it, right? So even in that, it's just kind of making a decision and trusting yourself that things are going to work. And that's what you did. And that's how you got through 3,000 projects, trusting in your education, sitting with it. And I also know your stillness being with you for a long periods of time and the silence that you carry. So that's another really great, I feel it's a really great quality of working with you. Now, working with your support system, when students work with you in your program, how do they ensure they are supported throughout their investment journey? So how would they expect to go through that while they're learning through the stages of the schooling system with CREIN? How would they feel supported through this investment? Is there a mentorship or coaching element involved to help them navigate? And what would that be?
So In the past, the way we were structuring was actually physically in the meeting. We would have a group of people that would meet once a week in our office or other place, and we'll discuss different issues. Then we moved that kind of structure to being on Zoom. And but still, a certain time of day, a certain day of week, would meet on a regular basis. And some people would have challenges, issues because of conflict of they had to go to work or they had kids that they needed to look after or other situations where they missed a meeting. And when you miss a meeting or miss one class, it's almost very difficult to catch up. So this time around, we decided to actually record all the steps, all the classes, all the teaching on video, and people will have access and they'll decide how fast they want to go through it. Each time when you finish one element or module, there's going to be a questionnaire to make sure that you understood the basic ideas that are covered in that module before you go to next one. So that way we ensure that everybody is more or less getting all the most important nuggets that are included in this training. And then it's practically implementing in your life, doing what we teach. And if you encounter any challenges, there is a phone number, there's an office, there's an email where you can contact my business partner, Christian, and he will most likely be able to either answer or do whatever you feel that you're not, you don't feel strong enough doing yourself. And our goal is to teach people to take the first step, to actually start looking for properties, and then partner with us and make sure that the next step, there's about 7 steps to making a successful deal. And the next steps are maybe a little bit more challenging. So we will hold your hand and make sure that we are beside you over those next steps.
Okay, great. So during the process of this, people will go online and they will have an opportunity to study first. Then they're going to follow up with Christian, which I'm assuming
Well, they don't need to follow up. The idea is that the learning, we're hoping that the classes are so self-explanatory in the way that you can actually, after taking classes, you can start working. And only you're going to follow up with Christian when you find a property or when you find a seller who is open to creative type of deals. And you don't know what to do next, then we will take over or we'll join you to make sure that the next steps are done properly.
Okay, so when they're in the training is sufficiently telling them, at this point in your 7 steps, this is when you're going to come meet me. Now, if this is going to be a joint venture, if you're doing a joint venture deal, are they going to be doing joint ventures or this is all done on their own? So how does this work?
No, the first step, they do it on their own, finding the motivated sellers. And the next 6 steps, most of them were going to be doing it together. And it is joint venture. So when any profit that is generated from this deal is going to be divided between our students and us, or our joint venture partner and us. And the amount, how much is divided, is depending how many of those 7 steps are done by you and how many is done by us. And you, if you find a deal, you will be deciding which of those 7 steps you feel comfortable on fulfilling and which you need support with. So that way you will decide how much of the 100% profit is going to you. Is it 30 or is it 80?
Okay. So, and now in those 7 steps too, they have to find the critical part of real estate investing is selecting the right market or niche for the individual. And that would be based on their personality of what would be their their process in finding themselves in creative real estate.
Yeah, it's either their personality or their connection or either the community that are embedded in. Like we have sometimes, I remember having a lady, she was working in the hospital as a nurse, and her niche was working with doctors who have properties and they don't have time to look after and didn't know what to do with it. So she would help them with that issue. Is continually working as a nurse on the weekends on the side. She was also working to get creative deals going until her creative deals were were so successful that she didn't need to continue being a nurse. So there is so many different aspects that, depending on where you live, depending you know what your community is, what are the needs of your community, you can decide to specialize in let's say condominiums in Surrey, or you can decide to do properties that are had problems because of grow-ups, or you may specialize in properties that require renovations and upgrades, and you may work with single moms because of the connections you have. Or whatever niche you decide will help you to find the best way to support that niche and their needs.
And becoming successful, yes. So it's understanding yourself also. Long-term success and strategy. So having worked in the industry for decades, you've seen the ups and downs of the real estate market. What do you believe are the key strategies for ensuring long-term success in real estate, especially when creative financing techniques with your techniques? What do you feel would be best long-term for ensuring that?
Well, it depends how much time each individual person is able to devote to that process. Because if you work full time and you only have an hour or two in the evening and you're already tired and so on, the length of the time that required to put into this process will be longer. But if on the other hand you can devote 2, 3, 4 hours, or if you work structure that your job is flexible enough that you can drop everything and go and see the house because someone called you 10 minutes ago, then it's going to take shorter. It all depends how much. It's like input and output. If you invest not money, if you invest more time, more energy, more passion, then the outcome is going to come out faster. And I usually tell people, give yourself like pregnancy, give yourself 9 months before you expect something to be born out of it. Don't expect to put one weekend and become independent financially from real estate investments because of that one weekend investment. It is a longer process of time. It takes. It's not every property that is for sale you can buy with no money down. There are very unique situations that you need to understand how you're providing support, how you're providing service to someone of need, and how you can, in providing that service, also have some benefits out of this solution that you have created. So prepare yourself for months of work before you see any significant outcome.
Okay, so my feeling is when I see a 9-month duration, we're looking at really narrowing in, making sure we cross all our T's, dot all of our I's, really absorb this technique that we're mastering in our niche, in our focus point of getting that first sale done, so that every other sale is going to be a lot easier. And I feel like if you've done 3,000, do you think that this is what happened for you, where you're in that avenue of like, no, I worked at this, I made the changeover, I got the knowledge, I figured out how to like cross all my T's, dot my I's, and then boom, it was easier. There was a ripple of knowledge and
Oh yeah, definitely. But in my case, it didn't take 9 months. It took years because I started it back in Europe just by building houses. Then I started buying, renovating houses, still back in Europe. Then I came here, became a real estate agent or real estate salesperson, and helped other people with money to find. So I was already saturated with all this knowledge and experience related to real estate. So when I've learned about creative ways, literally within a year, I think we had about 100 deals after I switched to buying with no money down. Literally, we took over entire projects of townhouses and individual houses and apartment buildings with no money down because I already had that knowledge. So for me, because I've done all the other work and educations related to real estate, when I learned about no money down, it was very quick. But for someone who's starting from scratch, someone who hasn't learned how the mortgages work, or how to legal aspects, or how to the land title office, or how to inspection, how to recognize property that may be beyond repairs, if they don't have that knowledge, it's going to take that much longer. They need to see hundreds of properties, with their own eyes to start recognizing a pattern.
And I think the excitement, like I think in our final words here and getting as much information in these in this interview with you is that there's enough knowledge that you have that we want to work with you. We want to know if you got to the point after all of your studies, is the whole idea is why somebody wants to work with you, is that if you have that many answers, while we get ourselves prepared by learning with you, that we can get through this a lot faster. I think, the uncomfortable thing that it could be for people would be building that trust of the unknown. But I think the only way is to dive in. And then we can talk a little bit about this investment into the schooling too, before we get out of here. Knowing that they're going to be investing a certain amount of money, why don't we get clear on what it would be like for them to work with you and how you like to give back?
So originally, when I started that 30 years ago or so, or whatever, 97, how many years that is? Not like 20, whatever, 8, 9 years. Um, I was not charging anything, and it was free. What I've realized that when there is no price attached to it, there is very little commitment usually from people, and they don't have as much. Nothing to lose other than time. So, and I still didn't want to charge because I felt I don't want to necessarily charge money to teach people to be competition to me. I want to invite people to be my joint venture partners, but before they can be joint venture partners, they need to get to certain levels so we speak at least the same language. How do I do that? So I decided I'm going to take a deposit, refundable deposit. And usually those deposits are $10,000. And once you learn the entire program and start implementing, start doing what we teach, and you start bringing deals to us after we do about 3 or so deals, depending on the size. If it's could be one a multifamily deal or could be 3 individual condos, then we reimburse you the money, plus you become a joint venture partner on those 3 deals. So that way we know that you're actually doing what we teach. You're not just taking knowledge and going somewhere else. We're doing it with us. So so usually we don't charge. We take $10,000 deposit, which is fully refundable. Now, because we had a break during COVID, we're reducing that deposit to $5,000 for first few people. That way we can kind of speed up this process to have a small group. And then once we achieve that small group, the price goes back or the deposit goes back to $10,000. And again, if it's 5 or 10, it's fully refundable after 3 deals.
Okay. So we're looking right now at any of the investors that want to come in. We're at 5,000 for coming into your knowledge-based online system that has been proven to work for you, and where people can get into that place, learn, grow, find out where they want to start their first deal. And then when they have or need some help and support, they're going to contact Christian or yourself to get through those
Christian.
following steps. Okay.
Perfect.
Sounds good. I think we got a lot in a nutshell. I think anybody that we're sharing this video with that have any more questions can direct message myself, and I can forward them to Christian or you if there's something in here that we've missed. It's so good to be with you. I want to make sure that we're getting this out because there are people that are interested, and these are some of the questions that were coming up for them and that I think I've covered enough today. So good to be with
Thank you.
Thank you for showing up, and have the best day ever.
Make sure to include the link to where people can register.
100%. See you soon.
Thanks again.
Bye.